And now, from beyond our dimension, this is the JeffMara podcast. Here's Jeff.
My guest is Gideon Daniel Coetzee, who saw God and his manifested presence during his near-death experience, which we're going to talk about and more. Gideon, thank you for joining me and welcome.
Thank you, Jeff. Thank you for allowing me to share my experience. Very interesting thing is that I've been 3 times in my life. I've been in near-death experiences. The first happened when I was very, very, very young. A tick bit me, and I was hospitalized for about 3 weeks, and I was in a very close to a coma. So they did some tests on me and gave me some oxygen at that stage, and I went through a lot that time. I can't remember anything from what happened during that time, but I've always been gifted with seeing visions and knowing stuff ahead of time. I could see things while I was born, while with open eyes. I could see from birth, and I had a big dilemma in my life. I could see people's lives happening before me. As I grew up and we went to different places, when I meet people, I would see their whole lives in front of me, play down in front of my life. So at one stage, it was too much a burden for me. I asked my mom to pray with me because I don't want to have this. This is just so difficult. I play with my friends and then I see what they're going to do and how they're going to react. And it would happen just seconds later. So I've been gifted with a lot of insight in the spiritual realm. But what hit me really hard was when the second near-death experience that I had, I was falling. At that stage, I was dehydrated. I got very, very sick, and I was dehydrated to such a point that I could hardly move. And I remember that night I was going up and down to the toilet, and it was very difficult for me to breathe and even walk. So I had to crawl. And as I was crawling to the bathroom, I realized I'm very cold. While I was going to the bathroom, I realized that I'm not feeling like myself. I'm like losing in touch with my body. And I was just dry. They didn't come out. I was like for 3 days vomiting and running stomach, and I was very sick. So at that stage, I sat there and I just felt so tired, like I had no energy. And I started to move back to the room because nothing happened. And as I was turning and going towards the ground, I realized, but I'm not with myself anymore. My body is on the floor, but I'm moving through the floor. I'm moving actually down in, and I realized, but I'm losing contact with my body. And I turned around to see what's happening. And as I look up, I could see my body, but I was busy falling. I was falling like on the back into this big black abyss. I was falling into it. And while I was falling, I realized at the stage that this is a power that I don't have any control over. And at that stage, I remember while we were in Bible school, they told us, call on Jesus' name. And I called. I said, Jesus, help me. And what happened is at that stage when I called on Jesus' name, I realized, I'm starting to move back, and as a clear voice telling me, pray in your heavenly language. Now, that is something strange. For some people, it's very strange. So I started to pray in my heavenly language. And in a couple of seconds, I'm back into my body. But I realized that I need to pray. I'm not going to make it. I'm actually busy dying. And I remember so distinctly while I was lying on my back there, it feels like the cold is it is so cold that it feels like your bones is cracking inside you. So cold is the floor and everything. And as I keep on praying, I realized, but I was slowly coming to myself, coming back into reality, into the present, in the present moment. And it took me about 15 minutes to get back to my bed. So now I was laying on my bed and I was softly praying and I dozed off. So the next day they took me to the doctor and the doctor gave me a drip. The doctor said, "You're busy dying. Your organs is shutting down. You had about 5 minutes to live." So she injected me, put me on a drip and injected me, and by God's grace, I made it through. Okay. So this is the second time. Now the third time was worse. It was like really crazy. It was my anniversary, my marriage anniversary. My wife's were out that day. I work at that stage in the workshop, and I'm very mechanically minded, so I do everything myself. And I was alone in the shop, and I was finishing up and closing shop, so I was making ready for a night out to go to dinner with my wife. And I can remember so distinctly, I was going through everything, making myself ready, and I went into the shower. Now the shower was very close to the electrical box that we use as a geyser. So it's an electrical geyser, but it's got like a plastic cover, and this plastic cover is just behind a glass wall. And at that stage, it was very, very hot, and it was summer, and this, the system was still on winter, so there's a switch that you can throw over, and then you have just one element running. Otherwise, there's two. So while I was busy showering, I thought, maybe I just can switch it over and quickly get it done, and then I'll finish up and I'll go fetch my wife. And as I was switching over, because I prepared this geyser box so many times, I know exactly the ins and outs. But at that stage, my balance was off and I fall into the power. And now I was shocked. I was shocked severely by 240 volts. Now, the earth leakage didn't trip. So what happened is that at the next moment, I find myself out of my body, and I see myself from ahead, from above. I look down and I see myself. I'm standing in this puddle of water, and I'm shocking like the hell is on me. So I realized I'm in big trouble now. I'm not part of who I think I am. I'm actually thinking that I'm the body, but I'm not. This person that I know is not part of me now. This is real me. I'm someone that just live in that body. Now, this was the biggest shock to me in the sense that I had to realize that I'm still close to my body, but it feels like I'm busy disconnecting. And the next moment, I'm right through the air and I'm in God's presence. But as I go through, it's like a tunnel, and that's also a divide. It's a very big chasm, very big. And there is a very clear, distinct idea of you are losing control while you're traveling over this big divide. And the next moment, I'm home. It's a very specific realization. This is my place. I am created to be here. That's the first thing that I realized when I landed there at that stage. And I start to speak out loud. I speak, God, I'm here. I'm here. He says, why? You are early. Why are you here? I said, God, I'm here. He says, I know you're here, but you can't come now. I said, God, why not? This is where I belong. I know I'm coming, and this is my place. I'm home. While I was in his presence, you can actually talk to him. He hears everything and he responds immediately. So his presence was manifested in every aspect of what there is on the other side. So for what I can tell you is there is a lot of laws governing the other side, in the sense that you have the full knowledge of who you are. You know exactly where you come from. You know exactly where you're going. You have this perfect sense of your home, and that you've been cared for and loved for to the utmost comprehension that you even can think of. When you think of a magnificent home, you get home and it's nice and it's beautiful and you feel at home. That feeling is so immense that you cannot describe it actually in words. It's very difficult to describe feeling you get home, but this is where you are meant to be. It's like you are at the place where you've been created for. It's like it's specially made for you, and only you can fit there. Nothing else can fit there. It's only you. So this essence of being in the presence of God forms every aspect of what I can say, almost like you're home. You start to talk, and you just give an account of what you've been doing all your life. So it just comes out of you. It's like, I'm home, God. I've done this and this and this and this, and I'm ready to be home. And he says, no. And that disappointment when he says, no, you cannot come now. It's like, but why, Lord? So he says, no, I've given you 3. You have to go back. I said to him, Lord, I understand I need to go back, but I can't. I myself, I can't go back. You know that. He says, yes, I know that, but you will go back. And as he says you will go back, in such a beautiful manner, it's just so amazing just to be speaking to God, in a sense that he just loves you so much that you cannot offend him and he cannot get offended. Because before you start to speak, he knows everything that you've actually want to tell him. So while I was speaking to him, he just said to me, you need to go back because you've got this specific purpose and you have to do what I ask you to do. So will you go back, he asked me. I said, yes, Lord, I will go back and I will do what you want me to do. And as I realized now I have to go back, I said to him, but how? And the next moment, the angels, like you cannot count them. It's not possible to even calculate them. There are so many of them. And when he says you going back, the angel starts to perform. But the one thing that is so powerful is just his voice got so much authority. While he's speaking, he's saying, you must go back now. Everything starts to happen. Everything. The angels come, they just embrace you, they take you, and they move you through this amazing, amazing place. It's very difficult to put in words, but there is life in every aspect of everything. It's like glittering with life. life itself, you're living in life, you're living in God, God's presence, God's omnipotence, God's power, God's everything about God is everything on the other side. So he's not located in a sense that you can see him in essence like he's a person, but he is more than a person. He is present, his life, and his eternal life. He's giving you the sense of that is in you, through you, and he is everything. So there's nothing that's hidden from him. Not one little thought is hidden from you. So while you are talking to him, you also, while you talk to him and all the magnificent presence and control that has been what is showing on the outside. It's so beautiful that it's so difficult to put in words. You can multiply the colors like you've never seen before. Everything is vibrating with life. Everything, what you look at, and you can see the past, the present, and the future in whichever way you think you can see. Where you're standing, you can see everything on earth. Where you're standing, you can see everything in the future. And you know everything while you're with God. You know everything, and you know that God knows everything and that He's supreme. It's something that you cannot get away from. So what's the first thing that you realize when you're on that side? There is laws that cannot be broken. It cannot be broken. It's impossible to be broken. It's absolute order and there's absolute love. But this love is so motivating. Then when he told me to go back, I just realized I had to come and finish my work. So I said to him, it's almost like impossible. For me, I cannot see how I can go back. I've been here, I'm at home, I feel, and he says, yes, but I've prepared a place for you, will be coming, but you have to go and finish what I've given you to do. So I said to him, but it's hard. He says, but I'll be with you. Okay. So now he sends the angels. The angels take me and they bring me back into the situation. So now I see I'm moving from the most out of space, like a very much different dimension. In a matter of split seconds, I move back into my body. But now I've got pain like I can't describe to no one. Because now I'm back into the presence, being shocked, and my body is taking a beating like nothing else. And as I'm awaiting to come to the point where I'm now fully back and I feel the pain, there is like an invisible hand that helps me by giving me insight in the sense that your mind becomes so clear of your body as having pain, but you've been connected with God. And now once you've been connected with God, now you have insight in how things work. And I take the other hand that was loose and I grabbed the railing of the shower. And as I grabbed the railing of the shower, electricity found the shortest way back to earth. And now I was standing free, but I'm not shorted more to the ground through my legs, and I could fall out through gravity. So now I fall out. The power is still on, everything is still on. So now the water is running and I see I'm back. And as I realize that I'm back, I scream on the top of my voice. I scream, but why God? Why? So now I'm back. I have this clarity of I've been in the presence of God. I wanted my whole life, I wanted to see God and experience His presence. And now I'm a different person. I've got no tolerance for nothing that's wrong. No tolerance, nothing. It's like zero. I know I'm here for a very, very, very specific purpose. This purpose is so big, it consumes me. The moment I'm back, I'm consumed by his power, by his way of thinking, by what he's shown me on the other side. Now I don't want to be here. But I realized, he said to me, I gave you 3. So now the big race starts to find out what is this 3. Because the 3 to me was 3 people. But it wasn't 3 people. It was 3 tasks. So it took me some time, about 2 years, to figure out what these 3 tasks was. So now I've got them under the belt. I understand them. And that was a very unique experience in the sense that I've seen God, I've spoken to him, he spoke to me back, I heard his voice, I have clarity of where I'm going, I know exactly what's the purpose why I'm created, I've got peace above understanding. My peace in my heart is above understanding. I also have zero tolerance for nonsense. I love people more than ever before. I had a love for people before because I was a pastor, but now I have got such an intense love for people, and even people that is far from God. I love them, and I understand why I'm here. So it gives me a sense of clarity of working towards a better future for myself. I'm financially in a severe difficulties, but it just doesn't matter. What matters is that I've experienced God to that sense that nothing else matters anymore. Because I know being loved perfectly by God, firstly, now I can love perfectly. And it's a different way of thinking. It's a total different way of seeing life, and it's a total different way of want to live. I want to live. It's nice to live. It's just so beautiful to see you as a person. You've got some very unique, distinct abilities and things that God has shown me while I was talking to you. You've got insight, you've got a good, clean heart. You're prepared for a lot of work that God has set in your path. But the thing is, for us as people, we need to find almost like he keeps these things hidden from us. And he opens it up to us as we go, as we walk, and as we live in obedience towards him. But it came to me in such a sense that I wanted to find God more than anything else. Nothing else mattered to me, because while I was 5 years old, I realized I've been created for a purpose, and the purpose is to be in his ministry, in his work, in his calling, in what he's got for me to do. One of the most important things for us in life, what I realized, is that we need to get to know him as fast as possible, as young as possible, so that you can find your true life's purpose, because he's created everything in such a beautiful order that nothing is without purpose. The most important part then of life is to find that specific purpose that you've been created for. When you find it, it brings so much goodness into your life, so much excellence into your life. But you have to pursue it with everything that's in you, because you think you've just been created by your mother and your father. You're just the offspring. You're just someone that was born. No such a thing. There's so much significance when you meet God and you talk to him, and he talks back to you. It's one thing talking to God, but it's another thing when he talks to you. And that is what's so perfect and wonderful, is when he that is awesome take the time to talk to you as a person. You feel so significant. It touches every part of your being. You are being talked to by the living God. when he speaks to you, it gives you a sense of belonging, and it gives you a sense of where you're going. You're going back to him. You've been created from his breath, and when he talks to you, you are united with him. It's like you're so blessed after that nothing matters. Just nothing matters. What matters is that he's spoken to you and he cares for you and he loves you with all of his heart. And his heart is open to you, and he's loving and he's kind and he's caring. And the thing is that what stays with you is that nothing is without purpose. Every aspect of your life has got a purpose. You think you go through a difficult situation, but after the situation is past, you have to go back and say, God, this is what happened. Can you show me the purpose of this? What it is that I need this lesson about? Just give me the lesson clear. Make the lesson clear to me. Show me why this and what. It becomes a relationship that is so magnificent in the sense that he's always revealing. Now you read the Bible and the Bible makes so much sense. You talk to people and you realize while people are talking to you that it is God talking to you, not people. Because God is talking through them to you. It becomes a living, breathing experience that's above understanding. It's something that you once you start to experience it, nothing else matters. You come to a point in your life where you say, okay, if this is what God wants me to do, let me do it with all my might. And let me see how the blessing of God looks. When I do something, what it is and how it is, and when God comes and he blesses. And when God comes and he's part of your life and he shows up and he do this magnificent things for you, you can distinguish it. You can actually see it. You can discern it. And you can experience it as this, my son, my daughter, I love you. I'm here. Don't you worry, I'm here. You don't have to see me, but I'm here. And that is a peace that stays with you. It doesn't have to matter to you as long as it matters to God. That is the way you start to live then. So these three very specific tasks I had to find. So the three tasks he revealed to me in time. But the first one that I was busy with was I was busy working on a patent for electricity. So while I was in heaven, he revealed to me how electricity worked. So I've created the patent and I want to market it. And it's a very big problem because it's so unique in the world, they doesn't want to patent it. So it doesn't want to patent it because this is like very controversial. It works on it, can stand on its own, and it works on its own. So it's a very difficult thing for science to understand. But as it may be, it doesn't matter to me. I know that's what is the purpose for me is to create it. God will work with it. So you'll allow it to come out when the time is right. So now this is the one thing. The other thing was the near-death experience that he wanted me to share. I spoke to a lady from China and I shared my near-death experiences with her. So the first two of my near-death experiences was more significant for her. She got more out of it because they've got a different way of looking at things. Now, they work mainly with yin and yang energy. So I had a very big, unique insight in how yin and yang energies work together. And I told her about it, and she was in a absolute flat spin, because the things that I told her about yin and yang energy, she was only about the yang part. The yin is very unique, and very few people in their culture even knows about it, how it functions and stuff. And I've been revealing to her stuff that she says is mind-boggling to her. Okay, so I had the insight from very young of electricity, and I had this presence with God, in God's presence. I came back, and the tasks that I had to do, I had to talk about the near-death experience. I had to finish my studies as a coach, because I've been a pastor, and I worked as a pastor, and now I started working as a life coach. So the big thing about being a life coach is when you see everything up front like me, and then you need to be obedient, waiting on God to work in the person until that person get the revelation or get the clarity. So you need a lot of obedience. So now, as a coach, you have this insight. You can talk to someone, you can understand what they're saying, and you can see things up front, and you can help people. Many times I've seen the problem long before they even know. So now you've been blessed and you're equipped. That makes it very, 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 very difficult when you are blessed and you're equipped and you have to wait until God says, okay, now it's the right time you can talk. So this is the one very difficult part of being in that. The thing is, with being a life coach, and you have the sense of what I have, in the sense that you can see and you can hear things up front. Now you need to be very obedient when God talks to you. So now you have to keep quiet until the person is on that level where that person can receive, because people are not always ready for receiving.
Gideon, what did God's voice sound like?
Like a waterfall, like a lot of water. Very, very, very strong water, like you're standing next to Niagara waterfall, and this voice is so powerful, it vibrates through everything. It's just so powerful.
Thanks for watching the JeffMara podcast. I really appreciate you. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. And if you do, there are loyalty badges and other perks depending on your level of membership. All you need to do is click the join button underneath the video to find out more. Thank you for your support.